Welcome to the Unpackers, the podcast of two boomers exploring the world of trading and investing, aiming for financial freedom and to make their kids proud. Join them on their mission.
Welcome to the Unpackers podcast.
Do not care which way the markets are going.
Development, isn't this taking air on air somehow?
The downside is 100%, but the upside can be magnificent. That's basically just stacking Bitcoin and then issuing debt to get more Bitcoin.
Welcome to the Unpackers podcast. My name is Bart and I'm a trader on my way to profitability. And my goal is to buy my son and myself a ticket to an FC Barcelona game.
My name is Ilko and I'm a data-driven trader. And some days I feel like I've cracked the code. And other days I feel like my kids putting in some random numbers would put a better result.
My name is Mich NL. Bart and Ilko call me the Gen Z Moonboy, and I'm here to help them to make their families proud.
And today we have as our guest a man who's wearing many caps. He's basically a celebrity in the crypto world. We know him as Crypto Mich NL van der Poppen, but also founder of MN Capital. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Actually, to kick off with that, what cap suits you most these days?
Well, I'm currently trading quite actively, so high frequency, and I feel like that my dopamine starts to kick in every time when I'm doing it. It's very sustainable, so every time when I see an opportunity, I'm just getting, I want to take the opportunity, and it's just expanding and growing. So I think being the trader for the fund, which is our new venture, trader for capital and for myself, and those are the big caps right now.
That is okay. That sounds like a very active lifestyle. Is it a healthy lifestyle? All the dopamine?
Well, I mean, I'd rather want to have a algorithm doing it for me, but we are still testing a lot of things out, and I think at this point, manually, I can still do it. But yeah, if it is a very active day, I need to squeeze it in between the other activities that I do. If it is very active, as in, let's say, Bitcoin drops 5% or ETH drops 5%, we just need to cut off the meetings and then I'm back to trading again. I like it. I like trading. I like doing this. So.
And how many trades are we talking a day?
I don't know the exact number. I think last month we've done around 2,500 trades on ETH, on one pair for the fund. We are doing 2 pairs right now there. I'm doing 3 personally and for capital 4. So I would say a few hundred a day.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but that's a whole different ballgame, obviously, that we are doing. But last time we spoke, that was in Volendam, actually. You were talking about your plans to basically say goodbye a little bit to your active trading days, and in the sense that you have a setup, you have an entry point, you have an invalidation, and you take profit. Mm-hmm. Basically, you refer to as you guys were doing, or still trying. Did you manage to really, separate from that path? And how would you say it now? Is your trading going now?
Well, I think in essence, I've switched off the very static trading that most traders are doing. So indeed, you take a position, you have an invalidation, and you have a take profit. That's how I wanted to trade when I started trading. But then after multiple events took place, I got into the way of market makers, volatility traders, how they trade. And then it took me nearly 1.5 to 2 years to optimize the trading strategy that I wanted to have. And in my opinion, it's the only sustainable way of trading during any market circumstance. So if there is a lot of volatility, of course, it's better. If there is a range, it's good because I can change the parameters and still make money on it. If it is a bear market, I can adjust and still make profit. It's a lot more fun, and it's I've started doing this since the fund went live 2 months ago, and now by trading this way, we can scale up until like whatever it is, and I'm looking in a completely different way to markets than what I did before. I generally do not care which way the markets are going. I just look at the data, adjust, and keep on like trading.
But help me a little bit. What are you doing now? What is it? What is your trading style? What is how did you mention it? Trading with market makers? What did you say?
It's a volatility trading strategy. So it's high frequency. And basically what's best for us is there is a retail wick on an exchange that's very liquid and that is out of the ordinary. So let's say on an average day, Bitcoin is moving 3%. I'm just having orders beneath or above the price. And every time when it goes like this, I make money because I buy at the lower range and I sell at the higher range.
Oh.
And I just keep on compounding those trading techniques. For capital, we are essentially doing the same. So we invest into a project and then we get the tokens and we make it more efficient. So we start trading them and utilize the volatility. For instance, today, I think it's the 10th of September. We had a pretty big position in Wormhole that went to 10.6 cents and came all the way back to 9.5 cents within 15 minutes. And that is where we usually create our additional ROI. So that's what we do. And for me personally, I'm just looking at coins that are very volatile and just trade those.
A bit more risky.
Yeah, I can't do it in the funds. It's
But
just...
Is it... so you're letting in those orders without the invalidation point?
Yeah.
There's no invalidation. It's just you optimize the trading once it goes into... Like, if Ethereum drops 20%, we need to cut a loss, but we adjust the orders and we keep on trading it. So within a few days, we are back to break even. And if you're even doing it in a better way, the further it goes down, you stack the orders, and the wider it goes based on the volatility, the heavier the orders will be.
Of course.
So usually if there is such a volatile event, it's quite heavy in that particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
But then because the orders are deeper for us and heavier, and usually there's a wick that we take, we create a lot of volume and a lot of profitability during those.
And based on historical events, you guys have backtested that there's no way that it's going to get liquidated at some point.
It can't because it's on spot.
Okay.
So we don't use futures. I do futures for me personally. Yeah, but I that's the only risk parameter that I wanted to take for the fund to like avoid getting such a, like for instance on Hyperliquid, you saw those weird events the past few weeks. We don't want to have that. The ROI is big enough on just trading on spot. Capital is taking more risk, and I myself are taking more risk through futures. So yeah, it's different.
What if the drop comes that keeps on dropping?
Yeah, then you need to have a loss yourself. But the thing is that if, for instance, you're having ETH is $4,500 and you're putting in orders 20% deep until 20% deep, and it goes another way, if your risk is optimized, then you still should be having enough liquidity to keep on buying. And if you get filled entirely and you're wrong on the quote or the price on that moment, you need to adjust the sell ladders all the way down and cut the loss. But you won't be down the exact same amount as just holding ETH, for instance. You'll be down 6 to 8% net if the drop is like 20%. And then usually the volatility stays quite high, so you can continue trading and you'll be back quite fastly.
But in some way, this doesn't at all seem like rocket science. You just need to do it.
Yeah, well, it is. You can do it in a simple way, but you can also... you need to optimize a lot of things in order to do it in the right way, because every pair is different than the other one. But technically, this is what Flow Traders, Optiver, Wintermute, all those guys are doing. I think one of the previous guests, Jess, is also trading in this way. So,
but they do it automated, you know?
Yeah. And that's tricky because the parameters are always changing. So you need to have a really big algorithm and then you'll be fine.
But it's not a trading style that you would teach.
No, it's not it doesn't suit me. You know, I've never done it myself, especially not manually. Seems like a lot of stress. Not gonna lie, and also you have to be glued to your screen. You know, I consider myself more of a manual trader, but with brighter data based on the data that we are collecting.
Right.
We are also already busy building some automated strategies, but then we are, for now at least, talking strategies that are taking one trade every single day. But we do know that with the data that we have collected and quantified, that at some point we will also probably get towards automated strategies that are taking several trades a day. And how many trades that will be, we have no idea yet. But it might be some high frequency strategy at some point as well. So long term, I definitely do see myself building those kind of strategies. Well, not build them myself because I'm not a quant, but have people build them for me and then use them myself, you know. But manually, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, so I guess that's the reason why you said you're canceling meetings to get behind the screens and use your mouse.
Yeah, well, if the markets are going into a certain direction and it's too heavy for like a normal market behavior, like Bitcoin goes down 5% or so, let's use that. I need to get back to the computer because it's just trading time. And that is important for the venture, that's important for the fund. And we haven't used any algorithm as of yet. So yeah, that's the only downside. And going on holidays, there's like a very specific requirement to have internet always. It's like I can do it, but I want to have internet until we have the algorithms.
You are always on.
Yeah, it's not stressful for me. Like it's interesting because when there is such a big collapse, like I still remember the days that I lost a lot of money.
Now you get excited.
Well, and now I'm getting really excited. If it is just going flat for a day, I'm just sitting there and just waiting until there's some sort of flow happening. But if it is very volatile, today was a very active day, then I'm getting excited or happy because I know it's going to yield ourselves a return. And because it's yielding ourselves a return, we can continue doing the other things that we're good at.
Right.
So yeah.
It actually helps you relieve the stress.
Well, the interesting part is that it wasn't easy for us to stay alive in these markets. We've had multiple new companies. We initially had the consultancy, had to close it down based on MyCar. Started the fund, but yeah, if something new starts, it costs a lot of money. The capital was kind of unlucky with the first listings. So altcoin markets weren't great, so the listings were terrible. They are actually getting better now, so that's good. And then the marketing we still had with the podcast, but well, new office, new team, all those things.
Right, yeah.
And now we are actually able to get back up and start being very profitable through ourselves, which is our strategy, instead of external factors of the markets going up. So that is giving a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
and,
of course. That's what a lot of funds do as well, right? They have at least one automated strategy, and then around that automated strategy, they're trying to.
Yeah, I mean, you can build a venture capital out of it. You can build a liquid fund. I think that I've got like 10 or 15 other strategies that we can utilize if we want. So it's giving confidence and flexibility, and you're just quite sure that even though if there's going to be a bear or bull market or whatever, I just want to have volatility.
So you're not experiencing any stress with the manual work you have to put in it. Still, you're looking at algorithms. Why is that?
Well, at some point we are going to scale up, which means that you can't really trade on one exchange or two exchanges. So you need to split it on all the exchanges, and you want to trade more pairs. Like I can do a maximum of 10 to 15 pairs at this point. But if that's going to be 60 or 70, then I need to use an algorithm, or I need to stop doing other things. That's why we're looking at one. But I'm still very conservative using one. And we are testing it out, and we get a lot of bugs, and then it's offline or whatever. There's always something. So yeah, it's not really like that the algorithm is finished in one go. It just keeps on evolving.
Right.
But ultimately, yeah, it would be great to just go on holiday without being online all the time. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it would seem a good holiday indeed. When you refer to capital, that's the leg of your company that invests in basically Web3 startups, right? And actually, we discussed on our way over here that actually was quite refreshing that still there are people in this space looking at the technology, because a couple of years ago it was we're all in it for the tech, and nowadays no one talks about technology anymore. It's just a chart, and what's beneath, no one cares. You have a different vision on that. You still believe in the promise.
Yeah. Well, currently nobody looks at crypto. That's for sure. Within, let's say, a few months, altcoins are curing cancer again. It's just how it goes. But underneath, we see that things outside of ETH and Bitcoin are actually being used. I mean, Chainlink being at the White House, providing the Oracle data. So Web2 institutionals can be using on-chain stocks or on-chain data to trade for themselves. Ondo has now tokenized stocks on their blockchain. And the cool part with the venture capital is that you have like a slight view in the future where those projects are building something. So in like 2 to 3 years, you get a kind of a scope of where we're going to. And yeah, the downside is 100%, but the upside can be magnificent. So that's the cool part there, and it's also really cool to
maybe also explain to the people that don't know what a venture capital is. What you guys are doing, because I can imagine that people that don't know it are like,
sure,
why can't you guys look into the future?
I was mainly trying to fish what are the couple of the investments that he made, and but okay, let's first go your route.
I also wanted to ask that question afterwards, bro.
One at a time.
Venture capital is basically providing capital to a founder to build the actual protocol or company. So let's say a token is now being traded. In order to get there and to build the actual ecosystem, they need to be funded. It's very expensive to build a blockchain protocol or whatever company, especially tech. And we are investing in those rounds, and they are often called pre-seed, seed rounds, Series A, Series B. That's usually what they are called. For retail investors, there is the public round on certain platforms where you can invest in too. And they have a certain valuation. And for us, the upside is the valuation is actually low compared to what we think it could be. And that's where we generate a return. And in reward, we provide capital, but it could also be marketing, or it could be our network of other VCs or market makers or exchanges or all those factors in order to give the company a higher chance of succeeding.
What kind of trends do you pick up, and what comes to your radar?
Well, I think short term we see a lot of stablecoin projects. The good old we generate yield on your stablecoin stuff. That's just a new hype. Like a few months ago, we had AI agents. Most of them are gone. It's always weird when you talk to someone at a conference and they say, yeah, we've been building this AI agent for 3 months. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But the key factors are DeFi, Deepin, and Bitcoin-Fi. Those are like the big 3 ones at this point. And DeFi in the sense that DEXs, where RWAs are being traded, or any other sort of a.k.a. Pendle protocols, but then connecting it to TradFi, traditional finance. Those are the big ones that we're currently seeing. And Bitcoin-Fi, there are a lot of projects.
Yeah, you need to explain that one.
Bitcoin-Fi is basically using your Bitcoin, but then your native Bitcoin. So the difficult part with Bitcoin is that you can't transfer it to Ethereum. That's they are using a different blockchain. And right now there are some bridges where you can swap it in between. But then the next step is that if you're holding your Bitcoin, you want to generate an additional yield on top of it. And that's where Bitcoin-Fi comes in. So basically you can borrow and lend your Bitcoin and get a return for it. And a lot of protocols are building that right now. And it's a 2 trillion market. So if that is being unlocked, then there is a lot of upside. So you see a lot of Web2 institutions from the US coming in that are investing into this specific, we call it vertical, but I would say segment, which is classified as Bitcoin-Fi.
And you think institutions will also be using those platforms to borrow and lend their Bitcoin for yield?
Could be. Or they are using or investing into those treasury companies that then do it for them. But yes, I think that once these protocols are, well, some of them are actually being funded by companies like Franklin Templeton. It's a big Web2 institution, an asset manager as well. Once they are compliant with the law in Europe or in the US, yes, they will be.
Okay.
In normal terms, what does that mean? That people, the web, the real world, let's call it Web 2, is buying Bitcoin and stacking that and trying to get a yield of that, but not selling it.
That's also why the treasury companies are quite interesting at this point. So I don't know the specifics of those companies.
Treasury company, you mean the
like Strategy from Michael Saylor. That's basically just stacking Bitcoin and then issuing debt to get more Bitcoin. Right. And a lot of copycats are trying to do this. Yeah. But the interesting fact is that they're also going to make their Bitcoin work. So you invest into the treasury company. Let's say you buy 1 Bitcoin through them, but they are going to generate yield through lending it out or through whatever they can do with it. And then instead of having 1 Bitcoin, at the end of the year, you could have 1.1 Bitcoin. And then it's just like we invest into those companies. We make more return with Bitcoin in dollar terms, and we make more Bitcoin in Bitcoin. And that's like the
double-edged sword.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that a lot of Web2 institutions that are coming into the market are very interested into this, but also in stablecoin rewards. And that's why DeFi picks up so much.
Is this a healthy development? Isn't this taking air on air somehow?
That's where it becomes interesting. I think it is the creation of the new bubble. In essence, if you have a native Bitcoin, it is great to use that and to lend it out. That's just fine. But once you start issuing debt to generate more Bitcoin that you can then lend out to get more rewards, it's the big short. Yeah. So then it just pops up and then it comes back down again. So yeah.
But you just mentioned this as one of the interesting developments in the Web3 space.
Yeah, and then it gets exploited and maximized on whatever way they can do it.
So there is something healthy in it, but those are the negative.
For people that are listening, it's the same as if you were around as the DeFi summer in 2020. Mm-hmm. You had very interesting DeFi protocols building something really cool. Like look at Aave, for instance. That is something that is optimized and still works, generates revenue when something gets liquidated, etc. But during that period, you had those staking rewards of like 20,000% where people were just farming those rewards.
Right.
And in the same way, that's also when something new is created in the sense of treasury companies or generating yield on Bitcoin. It is always exploited in a negative way. And then the bubble pops at some point, and that's where everything resets and the fundamental layer is being evolved, and then we get into the next phase.
So you could see it turn into something similar, where you have those pools where you can generate that kind of APR.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
it's gonna be crazy.
Everybody is seeing Michael Saylor as a legend. I think he has done a really good play, but he still has some issues, which is if he wants to pay out dividends, he needs to like get more investors in to pay out the dividends to the other ones because he doesn't want to sell his Bitcoin. I'm very interested to see how that goes. But if you look at the treasury companies and they start issuing debt, and for instance, Bitcoin is 150K, and they start issuing debt to buy Bitcoin at that level, at some point they will be underwater because the debt needs to be repaid. And that's how you create a bubble. And that's why I think the next bubble is probably going to collapse all those treasury companies if they issue debt.
Interesting.
So it's
going to be fun.
The new FTX
is already around.
Sorry.
Yeah, they are already around. Yeah.
But also picking up from your story, it means that from the DeFi period, some good stuff kept on building, and we're seeing still nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like Aave. What others do you think came out of that trough of dissolution, basically, and changed the world for the better?
I mean, Aave is the prime example. They are the biggest DeFi protocol out there. I think their TVL, which is total value locked within the ecosystem, is 25 billion nowadays. And during every liquidation crash, they come out with their revenue. So they're doing quite fine. Chainlink is a good example. However, the question there is, what is the token actually doing? The tech is great, but the token...
Being traded by Yip, he's a fan of...
now it's great, I know. The trend is quite good and liquidity is good too. I think they actually proposed the the buyback scheme or whatever they are
Really?
doing. Yeah. So they
just
have a
price action
treasury.
in general, always on Chainlink, I think has been
Very clean.
very
I like
clean,
it too. Yeah. So that's a good one that came up. We have a lot of DeFi protocols nowadays, like Ethena, Pendle, the old ones, Curve. All of them are actually great. It's just a new version of DeFi that is expanding, but I know a lot of shit ones, of course. But yeah, it's good. I like it. It's actually like what we imagined to be crypto at some point, or decentralized finance. It starts to get there. The onboarding of all those Web2 institutions is actually already happening. So it's, yeah, I mean...
But when will it be? I don't know. When will I use it? I don't know, on my phone without even knowing it?
Well, you can use it on Robinhood or Revolut already. You can already use stablecoins on all those platforms. And you can already stake them, and then it goes into one of those liquidity pools of Aave. So that's already there. It's just we need to create a need to start using blockchain more, which is when the next financial crisis happens, which we don't know. But that's not really a positive topic, I would say.
We've enough crisis already.
I just read that Turkey has such a big crypto audience and that keeps expanding given the fact that the inflation is so high in that country.
Yeah.
So it's already happening, but I think the UX is still too difficult, and that's what they need to fix. So for instance, if you want to use Hyperliquid nowadays, one of the biggest DEXs in the world, I think one of the most profitable companies as well, you need to have MetaMask, and then you need to put it on Arbitrum, and then you need to deposit it into the platform, and then you need to connect it every time, and then you need to... It's a lot of steps. Yeah, it's just too difficult, and my parents won't be using that, but we get there. It's getting very easy with some apps, I would say.
And I didn't forget the question about what the latest, let's say, investments that you made.
One I can't even explain. It's a...
Okay, let's pick that one.
No, it's just an infrastructure layer for gaming and deepin. And I'll just keep it there because the other guys are way more technical than me. That's what we did. We did one in
your other guys, your
the team,
analysis.
Yeah, we have an investment analyst that is going deep into the protocols. Usually I read it all, I understand it, but once it gets into very technical stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do something else because it's just too difficult. But that's the last one. We did one in Bitcoin Fi.
Yeah, the one
native Bitcoin. We've invested in that, and I think we're going to invest into 2 or 3 exchanges, DEXs. We're quite far with one. We are quite far with the second one, and we are having a DeepIn protocol that is basically, there's a small device, and if you have that with you, it is just generating data about the weather, and then it puts it into like some sort of globe on the app, and all the data that is real is being sold towards other parties to give proper like the weather data that we currently see is usually wrong. So in that way, we are building a protocol or a world where the weather data is actually real, and there are a lot of flaws, and there's a big market for it, so we consider investing into that one.
But I'm actually working in climate adaptation, so I'm quite keen to know this one. But why would you, as a as a startup founder, basically, would you start that on a blockchain?
It's transparent. It's super fast. You can make a market where people that are using the device or buying the device are being rewarded for using it. The tricky part is that there is still no market where companies understand why they should be buying the data. So that's the essential part. So for instance, we had a project that we were looking at. It's called Silencio, which is doing the exact same, but then with noise. And if you have an hotel that is having a lot of noise during the nights, and then people are using the app and track the data, there's no point you're buying it because it brings down the value of your hotel, right? So those are flaws that the market still needs to be looking into. Who's going to buy it? Is there any interest? That's why a lot of DeepIn protocols are not really taking off. But it's actually the most essential way of using blockchain.
Are you still studying the technology, Yip?
I knew you were gonna ask this kind of question.
You're avoiding it.
No, I'm not avoiding it. But yeah, I've said it many times. It's just not where my interest is at, you know? I'm not one of those guys that says that I'm in it for the tech. I'm just in it for making money. And I just consider myself more of a trader. I am also heavily invested in the market just because I do think that it's still going higher. And I will be stupid not to invest into it, you know? But I also do know that once my targets get hit on my altcoins, and those targets are often based on the charts as well, that I sell them.
No
And I'm
matter how good the
satisfied.
technology is.
Yeah, no matter how good the tech is.
Right.
And I'll wait for the financial crisis or for the bubble to burst before I get back into crypto again. And there will be some projects that I do believe in, that I do understand. That is always very important for me, you know. Like you also said, when you really go into the tech too deep, you start misunderstanding it, you know. It's not fun anymore. And if someone can really simply explain it to me without me having to do too much research, and I can instantly get a grasp of it and understand how it can actually help people or make revenue and preferably even make profit, then it starts clicking. Then I'm interested in investing in, maybe even for the long term, you know. But there are very few projects out there right now that are actually generating revenue or even profit, you know. And that's the main issue. They have nice ideas, but generating revenue and profit is quite important for a company, you know. Yeah, there are a few.
Game. Yeah.
Hyperliquid is just by definition the prime example.
Exactly. I think they have the highest profit per employee.
Yeah, 30 times Nvidia.
Yeah,
It's insane.
it's pretty crazy.
Crazy.
They only have 11 people, I think, working.
Yeah,
for
a
them.
little bit more now, but it's like
Really?
Yeah, they're
yeah.
doing like 1.3 billion in profit a year.
It's
Yeah.
That's really sick. I like
It
that.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. He says, okay.
But that's
Oh.
also quite like the split personality you have to have, right? Because you have to look at the tech for
I
some
didn't see this coming.
for something completely different. Now, sometimes you have to look at the tech, but in your trading, your let's say your crypto Mich style, you don't have to look at the tech, right? It's like you have your own strategy.
Well, with the capital, it's we have an investment analyst that is doing the actual deep tech work,
Right.
and our business development manager is actually doing all the reference calls and all the things that you need to do in order to get the DD done, the due diligence. And then I come in to like be using an equation of whether we think that at the end of the cliff investing, the value that we need to have to make it a proper investment, if that is actual viable, I can make a business thesis out of it. I understand it.
Right.
But yeah, my personal interest is to make revenue and generate a return with the venture capital.
Right.
Like for instance, if we want to do an investment that is going to have a 5-year long vesting on a token, then the return needs to be way higher than holding Bitcoin for 5 years, for instance. That's kind of how we work. But there could be periods where someone of the team is saying we want to hold the token, and I say we need to sell. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Because we also want to be capital efficient. We want to use the money for other opportunities, and we want to expand. So, yeah, at some point you need to sell it, whether it is through a secondary or on the open market. And sometimes we don't do a trade because I think it's not financially good, and others think it is.
Yeah,
and then we miss one. Yeah, it happens
always.
So yeah, it would be slightly better if we have a little bit more the team split or like within the team. But I think in this way we're still doing good investments, so why not?
If it works,
Yeah,
it works.
yeah, true.
Let's talk about a little bit about your followers, because you hit a milestone, I think, of 800,000 followers.
Yes.
How does it feel to have 800,000 people watching at you what you post every day?
It's the entire city of Amsterdam.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's actually true. That's funny. I know that when I had like 56,000 people following me, I went to Ajax and I was like, yes, this stadium is now following me. That felt great. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just using Twitter for my personal journey. So I share what I do. It's not always the easiest, but in order to...
Why not?
Well, 1 year ago, I've decided to go all into an altcoin portfolio myself. And that has received some feedback.
It was on my list, so more of a question.
Yeah.
So let's take that chapter
feedback.
now.
It has received some feedback. But having the followers is not really... Well, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have the followers. Of course, we can build all the companies out of it. But I'm going to do a offline masterclass within a week from now. And I'm bloody nervous because like there are going to be more than 100 people listening to me for over an hour, stumble around talking about trading. Then those things are like, you're very happy and fortunate that you can do it, but also very nervous because your standard is like here. You want to provide some good content.
Why are you nervous? You've been many times, standing in front of crowds, doing well. You even had a lot of humor. I remember at your event last time.
It was a good lecture.
It's well, I'm thank you.
We were in the audience. We were in the audience. Maybe we were just the level of the audience was not very high, and now now it might be. I don't know what the case is.
No, I mean I just want to do it well for myself. I don't really mind whatever people are saying. But if I feel good about what I've done, then I'm good. But if I feel like I could do better, then it feels like a disappointment.
Well, you should. No. You should feel well about the talk. It was fun. I don't remember laughing a lot.
Yeah,
That was a great one. Yeah.
it was especially fun because right before I went on, someone was fighting with the other one about exchanges. That was fun. But no, I mean, those things are actually quite good. And when I meet people at conferences that come to me and say that that they have learned a lot, and I'm like, that's great. That's what we want to achieve. I'm very happy with it. And I hope I can still provide content and valuable content over the coming few years.
Cape Town, Dubai, or Bali as a crypto personality?
I've never been to Bali. I'm going to. I don't know what to expect. A lot of acai bowls, I've heard. But I would say Cape Town. It's also getting way better to like go there and just live there. They have like a digital nomad thingy. Maybe you know that too. Where you can just be there for 5 years, don't pay taxes, and just start living. I'm like, oh.
Is that true?
Yeah. Actually,
I'm gonna phone call the president of South Africa right now.
Yeah, some friends have bought an apartment over there. Actually, a house of like 300 square meters for like 300k.
Yeah, it's hella
It's
cheap.
insane. But in terms of living standards, I would go to Cape Town. In terms of tax reasoning, I would say Dubai. And Bali, I just don't know. It's good, but like...
Bali's outdated.
Yeah, but would you go to Bali?
Are
Okay.
you going to Bali or?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm going to the in like 3 weeks or so.
Half token.
Yeah,
Yeah, makes sense.
just to have a holiday. Never been there. Everybody talks about it, so let's just see what it is.
Makes sense.
It does. Just in the same category, popping over another important question. Your trading view, should it be white or black?
Oof. I've got it gray.
Classified as white.
Nice answer.
Classified
Well,
as
I've
white.
changed the background to gray, and the rest around it is black. White is so painful for your eyes.
Yeah, but even your buddy Sergio went over to white.
Yeah, he uses white, but he's a maniac.
He's a maniac.
Yeah.
I quite early when I started, I actually had it in white, and then I turned it yellow. Super weird color. But I changed the candles from green and red to black and white because your brain is like automatically doing something when it sees a red or green candle.
That's true.
So
Yeah,
I
it's
changed it. And I think, I don't know, I actually don't know what I'm using now right now. I think it's red and green. I don't know. But it's gray. I like gray.
It's funny that you do not know the candles, the color of
I
the
have
candles at
no
the chart that
clue.
you look at like 10 hours a day.
I also wouldn't know.
I have no clue. I know that my RSI is black. The volume is also black and white, but I have no clue what the candles are. I think it's red and green, otherwise I can't read it.
Okay. Now I thought this was was
It's
interesting.
too complex of a question. Let's just...
Yeah. I understand. I think the questions about the Web3 technology were much easier to answer. Okay. Well, I'm happy I popped this question up. So,
sure.
Again, you just mentioned it, the tweet that you got a lot of feedback on, basically the all-in on altcoins. I thought it was brave. I also thought it was brave to post it on X. Where is that? Where's that leaving you now? And I think you even went double down on it.
Well, initially I started posting it to just post it all out, and then I started coming back to it and just going back into that vibe of talking about the altcoin portfolio. Quite usually with these things you go down with it, so the reputation and all those things are going with you when you make this decision and you go underwater for like 70%. But then at some point people started commenting with hey, I'm still holding it because you're holding it. And I was like, okay, so there are actually people doing the exact same. So I need to do more with this. Then my own training started to evolve. I started speaking about the fact that I was wrong. I was too early. I made wrong decisions. I started asking about should I add into the portfolio? What should I do? And I decided not to, because not everyone has the opportunity to add money into the portfolio. I just use this one.
That's fair.
I think it is too. And right now it starts to go into the upside. So people are actually following me for the altcoin portfolio. And I'm very keen to see where it goes. But I mean, at the lowest point, we actually had to go to the police because we had some death threats. And that was
You're
not...
joking.
No, I'm not. That was not fun. Names of our employees on social media, mails, Twitter, Instagram. Actually, partners were getting messages about me and all those things. That was not really fun, especially if you're working with your girlfriend and her sister at the company. It's a lot of stress. But right now it's getting better. So...
because of you tweeting that you, with your personal funds, went in.
The thing is that when I decided to do this, I said, this is extreme risk. I can do it because I'm young. I've got all the ventures here. I can take it. I understand what I'm doing and I'm doing it 24/7. But if you are having a regular job or a family or whatever, you shouldn't. Just get the lessons out of this. But apparently, some people decided to do it as well. And then once it goes under, they start calling you names. And that was a very heavy learning curve for myself on the impact of what I post on social media. And a long time, I actually questioned of, what am I doing on YouTube? Am I going to continue doing it on YouTube? But now I'm back in the vibe that I actually believe that there's a lot of value in there. And I am quite sure about the way that we trade it. So what we do with the capital, I kind of want to do with the altcoin portfolio as well. Be more active, share more of those things, trade it way better. It's going to be a lot more fun.
Instead of just holding, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have been trading it. For instance, we have been buying, I think Celestia at like $10. It's at 160 right now. We have been buying Optimism at $2.40 and it's now at 70 to 80 cents. And I think because of the fact that we were trading it actively on the way down, we are now down 50%, but most coins are still down 80 to 90%.
Right.
So once it starts to ride up, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Because you accumulated more of those coins.
Yeah, I've just been trading it. So it's been a heavy roller coaster, and it's annoying that once it is becoming such an important part of your content, that it can also negatively influence the rest of the companies.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm trading that way in the capital or in the fund.
Did you also get feedback from people that invested into your other companies that saw the altcoin portfolio and the decisions you made and gave feedback on that?
Not in the fund. The returns are publicly out there, so that's completely different than what I do personally. But yeah, we had some people that were not looking to get into the fund because they don't see the confidence of doing it. I mean, that's fully understandable. If I have a portfolio that went down 70%, like why would you want to deposit some cash, right?
Makes sense.
Just build up the track record and then they'll come back. So yeah, it's it's a cocktail of not great decisions, but it will turn around, I guess.
And looking back in hindsight, would you ever make such bold statements and decisions again publicly?
Well, I've been doing it my entire life, so probably yes. I think I would be doing it with a little bit more consideration of what the impact could be. Initially, it was just one post, but then people were coming back to me about it, and then you need to go on. So in hindsight, first of all, I would have been trading it differently. And secondly, I would be thinking it a little bit more through. That's what we try to do right now, I guess.
Fair.
There's a lot of talk lately on, this being the top of where we are of the cycle, all that kind of stuff, and a lot of theories. What is your take on that?
Yeah, those people are going to be left behind.
Clear.
I mean, it's... I see those threads coming around as well. People that are saying within 50 days, this cycle is over. And I'm like, could be. But there's also a chance that it could be going on for a longer period of time. We still are at super high interest rates. We are still having recession rumors. There is not even one sort of expansion taking place. There's not even one rate cut taking place. Just look at the data. And we can see that we are 1.5 to 2 years behind. There's an account on Twitter which I think is really good. It's TechDev. I can share the link and then maybe in the description.
Yeah, sure.
He combines the price of Bitcoin with the business cycle. And the business cycle is just a composition of a lot of indicators and a lot of macroeconomic factors. And if you look at the data and where we are right now compared to previous cycles, we are Q1 2020 or Q2 2016. That's where we are at. Also, when you look at the altcoins, Ethereum has broken out of a downtrend after 3 years of downwards momentum.
Yeah, and the range that it has been trading in was 5 years.
Yeah.
It's also breaking out of that one. That is also my biggest argument why I think especially altcoins in Ethereum will trade a lot higher still.
For sure. I think we are not even I think we are starting right now, and that's not going to be over in 2 months. So
and another question. This one is interesting. Do you think we get a similar altcoin season as the previous cycle?
Yes. Every time when there is hype, it will be. And the reason for that is last week I actually was saying probably not, but. I went to the charts. I look at the computer quite often.
Do you?
Yeah. And there's an interesting fact, which is if you look at the 20-week MA, or EMA, that's the most often used one for market makers and such. All the altcoins versus Bitcoin and USDT are just beneath it. And once they start to break it for the first time in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years, it's popping off like in a big way. For instance, WorldCoin that broke it 3 days ago went plus 150% in just 1.5 days. It's because traders are jumping in and then retail comes along. It's going to be the exact same where an alt season is taking place. I'm sure of it. So once it starts to crack those levels, the liquidity will just start to come in. I'm also interested to trade those coins. So that's how it goes. I think the valuation of almost all projects are going to be extremely high, and I think it's going to be the bubble that we call the crypto bubble in the next decades.
So like tulip mania type of.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong on this one too, but I mean, there's a lot of.
Why invite you for the statement?
No, I mean it's generally what I believe. The funny part is, I went all into altcoins, and I said probably this is going to be a longer cycle, and I'm too early. I was kind of early.
That one you were right.
Yeah. And I think it's just almost, well, there's always a chance that we peak in the next 2 months, but it's just very clear that the institutions are jumping in, and nobody in the institutional world is buying ETH for 1 month. They are buying it for decades. And the impact of more than 1 billion inflow, or actually like 5 billion inflow, is that price doubles. And the higher the price goes, the higher the impact will be if there's more money coming in. So I think that if you look at, you really need to look at TechDev. It's one of the accounts that I really follow. It's just Q1 2020. It's just like Corona has just been starting and we had the crash. And that's the point where we are at right now. So if that is the case, then fun is just to begin.
It's a perspective, yeah. We don't have a crystal ball, but it's interesting to hear your view on it.
It's also, if we start the fact of rate cuts and all those things, the monetary expansion, we just had the revised job data, which was the most negative ever, which indicates that the economy in the US is just in a terrible shape.
That's still the Biden effect, huh?
It's still the Biden effect. Yeah. Trump is great.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about Trump. But I think it is going to last, as in the impact of the institutions in all its ways, and regulation is just simply taking time. We just had the approval of the Clarity Act and the Genius Act, and that takes 9 to 12 months before it really kicks in. I think BlackRock has been doing the Biddle Fund, which is investing $1 billion or more into crypto. Also takes time. So I don't really see many arguments of why we should be peaking really soon. And that's also why we decided to keep on deploying capital into new startups that are actually going live next year, which is tricky, but that's how we see it.
No, I like one of the tweets you put out is that you need to do something contrarian in this market, otherwise you will never make it. So, well, you're an example of that, and sometimes it goes right and wrong. But hey, if you ever do something the herd does, you never make it. So,
I mean, if we get a season that altcoins are going 10 to 20x from now, or like really up in the next 4 to 5 months, for sure I'll be taking off money. I'll take some off the table. You just need to de-risk.
Of course, yeah.
But we've also seen that in 2020, and these rumors of the bear market has started reflect for me when I started, which is in 2017, where you had the crash of 3K to 1.8K, probably something with China. And then we had a crash from 5 to 3K in October of 2017. And everybody was saying it was over. And then boom, we went to 20K. But just because price was in new territory, new all-time high, every dip was called the bear market. But this time, Bitcoin is acting north of 100K for the simple reason that we had an ETF where we had so much inflow. And for the simple reason that we have treasury companies that are buying Bitcoin through the ETF or on OTC markets. Otherwise, if we didn't have that, probably Bitcoin would be swimming around 40 to 50K at this point, and nobody was discussing crypto and was a ghost town. So I think that the entire ecosystem still needs to go to the fair prices. And that's why I think that being allocated into the altcoin markets to an extent that is acceptable for yourself, then probably you'll be having a good time.
Who else are you following on Twitter or on X?
Not many traders, to be fair. Well, I'm looking at TechDev. I'm looking at the guys of I don't know the name, Raul Paul, Julian Bittel. Those two. They are macroeconomics and great content. Furthermore, I'm just looking at podcasts that have nothing to do with crypto. That's just better.
Okay, so which is also interesting. What kind of topics?
Well, I like the Modern Wisdom podcast from Chris Williamson.
That one is dope.
That one is actually really good. Also to learn of how they are asking questions and the conversation and all those things. I'm looking at Alex Hormozi. The way he looks at business is very unique and new for me. And actually, some people have an opinion about him, but Daniel Dahl is just making great content. It's just so easy to watch. But those things I'm just looking at. And lately I've been looking or listening to the podcast of Novak Djokovic.
I've listened to the one in the plane. That one was sick with Jay Shetty.
Yeah. That's really good.
Sick one.
I mean, I'm not comparing myself to any of these athletes. It's just extraordinary what they have done. But the way, if I want to learn, I would be looking at those guys because they are doing something that is just insane.
Yeah, sure.
Ray Dalio, Novak, Alex, all guys that I...
But Novak is the host of that.
No, he's the guest.
The guest. Jay Shetty is the host.
Okay.
2.5 hours or so.
Yeah.
Talking about his journey.
Okay.
But also spiritual journey, holistic journey was really great, man.
In the first few years when he was playing tennis, he didn't really get through the first few rounds, and that was because he was very tired. And then they figured out that he had some gluten allergy.
Yeah.
And they fixed that, and that's when it started to kick off. It's super interesting to listen to him. It's always fun to listen to podcasts that are having athletes or so.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I'm just blindly looking at poker streams or golf channels or so.
That's a good way to pass your time. Yeah.
If I have some
good advice for our listeners.
yeah. It's great. If I'm trading or whatever, I'm usually just watching it. Like for instance, right now it's the World Cup of Online Poker. That's great. I like it.
I see it in your eyes.
It's fun. My girlfriend usually asks me why I'm watching poker streams, but I say, well, I like it, so why not?
Because I can.
Yeah.
Hey, some great value here from this. You just mentioned the lesson that you learned in the last, in the past time. What is another great lesson that you learned?
Well, I've been listening to the podcast with Scooter Braun. He used to be the manager of Justin Bieber, and he used to be the manager of Taylor Swift. And he has a quote in there where he says that he went from hero to zero, and especially due to Taylor Swift leaving him. And he said, well, when I was a hero, people were really happy with me and complimenting me on social media, but those people didn't know me. And when I was a zero, all those people that are hating me also don't know me. And that's reminded me of the fact that my close group around me is the actual group, and the rest is just stupid noise. So that's also why I brought a subject.
Let's go over to that one. I'll introduce it a little bit. We have the new format in which we ask, obviously, our guests to take an object that holds value to them.
Yep.
Well, just what is yours?
It's a book. I was thinking about what should I bring, but it's the book of Mark Manson. His podcast with Chris Williamson are also great. It's the subtle art of not giving a fuck. I've been reading this in Cape Town during the period that I was actually really low, as in I lost almost all my money. The companies were about to go bankrupt back in 2023. I had some health issues as well. That's when I started to read it. Then you're just pushing it away and not really having an impact. But through those podcasts as Scooter Braun or all those things you start to hear after that, made me realize that a lot of comments you see on social media are not that important. And it's the same as what I said with the masterclass. If people come to me and say it was great, or if people come to me and say it wasn't great, nowadays it doesn't really have an impact to me. I just want to feel great myself, and then I'm happy with it or not. And that's independent of external factors. And that is the biggest switch that I've made over the years, because I could be very stressed out of a lot of comments that were seen there. And back in the day, I was actually like commenting on every comment that was negative and just swearing it all out and stuff.
Yeah.
But that comes from a lot of stuff from back in the days when I was a child. This is has a lot of value for me.
I've read that one as well, actually.
It's a really
A
good
lot
book.
of years ago, when I was in high school.
You don't strike to me as a person who actually would give a fuck what others think about you, right?
No. But
You know?
for me, it was when I was in high school. I could get like annoyed about the little things, you know, not about what people think of me, but more about like just small stuff, you know, just really, really small stuff that you actually shouldn't give a fuck about. So at some point, my mom gave me this book, and I read it, and it actually really helped me, you know, where there's so many. For example, today there was a good example. My little brother, he borrowed my car, and I stepped into the car earlier this morning, and I could see a big scratch on the door. So I was really annoyed at first. And I called him. I was like, bro, what happened, you know? Now, while I was calling him, I was like, why do I give a fuck, you know? Like, why am I wasting my energy or getting annoyed at something that might or might have not have happened and that I have no control of? That was the big lesson for me, you know? It's the things that you have no control of, that you shouldn't give a fuck about. And one of those things is what people think of you. I feel like myself, I'm really good at that, you know, not giving a fuck of what anyone thinks of me. But with other stuff, I'm struggling with that every now and then, like early this morning. But actually, thinking about it now, the book is one of the reasons why, while I was calling my brother, I was like, you know what, never mind. I'm healthy, I'm alive, I'm happy. It's a car. Who gives a fuck, you know?
Yeah, that's also how we look at our business.
He's
and
smiling
everything.
now. He's like,
You came off well, man.
No, I mean that's also how we look at the business right now. How can we change everything in a positive way within our control? Because we can't change the outside, and if you start doing that for yourself, then probably the rest will follow. So, yeah, it helped me a lot. Kickstarted a lot of good things.
Love it, man. And then over to the final part of the podcast, which is the quick question round.
Oh, another one.
Yeah. Very simple ones. Quick answer, obviously. So a little thinking time. I think you will start. The last one is an odd one out, which is basically yes or no answer.
the fifth one.
The fifth one. So over to you for start.
All right, so here we go. Bonk or Shiba Inu?
Shiba Inu.
Is Il Capo of Crypto, you know, the Twitter account, a real person or an agency?
I actually know him, so he's a real person.
Shit. Okay.
You've met him in real life.
I've never met him in real life, but close friends have. So
Yeah, I think Dan Crypto Trades, he also knows him quite well.
I'm not saying names, but it's an actual person. Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Who is your hero?
Rafael Nadal.
Rafael Nadal.
Yes.
Sticking with the tennis.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Back in the day, he was having those like 3/4 Brooks jeans and the tank top with the bandana.
Right.
I was also playing tennis as a 10-year-old kid, wearing the exact same while being Dutch and not Spanish.
Right.
And not being as good as I could be. But yeah, he's actually he's also insane. But Alcaraz nowadays is way better. So
Yeah, but still, we think of Nadal's way more cooler.
yes, yeah. Well, I mean, for you as a child, he's the big hero, right?
The king, yeah. Ilko and I are cheating in the trading war, which we need to record a new episode.
He deposited or?
Well, we deposited.
They're actually both in profit. Manually
nice.
trading, yeah.
we are actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, it's
No
an
boss at work.
accomplishment. Like 6-7 months in and almost, how much percent are you guys up? Not 6-7 months in, 3-4 months in.
3-4 months, I guess.
Anyway, it was
yeah.
a quick question round. Do you have any tips for us in the trading war?
Increase the volume.
Here we
Trade
go.
more. I'm trying to make them trade less, Mike.
So this is the last one. It's a yes or no answer. Will we see a 70% drop of BTC?
At some point, we will.